everybody, Denny here at Montana Lane Outdoors. Back again with another series from my 2019 Pennsylvania archery season. This time we're going to recap the story of a buck that I named Bob Marley. This was a buck that I knew from the 2018 season. He started showing up quite a bit on the cameras in the summer, had a lot of footage of him throughout the fall. He's a young deer, he's not real wide, but he's super tall. And I could just see he had a lot of potential. And seeing that real wide, real tight, real tall, high rack, I decided to name him Bob Marley. It was an easy name to pick, and he just stuck with him. So roll around to the summer of 2019, and I'm prepping up for the season, and I start to pick him up, and he's grown quite a bit, over the last year. And he's been on my radar, and I'm thinking about him, and we're rolling into the season. I get all the way through the month of October, and I've seen one deer. One buck, and that's it in the month of October. Friday morning, November 1st, getting ready to my house. I had somewhere to be that day. Look out the window, and there he is. He's standing in my backyard, nose to the ground. He's working his way across. And I'm like, all right, he's on the move. He's back in the area. He's still around. We're going to pick this up. So what I'm going to do is tell you the story and let you play out and see how this whole season came together. It totally became a defining moment for me as not only a bow hunter but a hunter. The things that I saw, the decisions I made, all played out because of this deer, because of the footage that I was capturing, everything going on. So I'm going to roll this over. We're going to get it started here with a hunt on the morning of November 2nd. It's another cold, frosty morning here in Pennsylvania. We've had some of the best weather we've had in previous years this last fall. So I had just let out a couple of grunts, and I turned around and I had grabbed my rattling antlers off the tree, started rubbing them up against the bark of the tree, and looked over my shoulder, and lo and behold, there's standing Bob Marley. He's about 45, 50 yards away, and he's looking directly at me in the tree. So by the time I turned, as you saw in that clip, the camera on Bob, he's already probably been staring at me for about 10-15 seconds. That footage right there was 2 minutes and 15 seconds that he stands there and stares. He knows something's up. He saw me move in a tree, but this buck's out here. He's thinking about that buck. And I'm thoroughly convinced that this Huntworth disruption pattern that I was wearing that day, I saw so many deer. I had bucks, does, upwind, downwind on both sides of me within 20 yards most of the month of November. I hunted the same exact stand 11 different times and really was never picked off. You'll see here this buck spent over 2 minutes and 15 seconds before he finally gives up. He turns, he goes down over the hill, gets into the brush. He was going to circle that decoy, and then he comes back. And I'm going to let this next clip play again. It's about a minute and a half, and you'll see what happens here as he comes back up the hill and starts looking up again at me, looking at the decoy, looking up at me, trying to figure it out. So we're going to let this next minute or so play out. All right, so here we are about 5 minutes into this buck staring at me. He's worked his way around, and finally he's committed. He finally decides, I'm nothing to worry about. He wants this decoy. And you'll watch over the next 30 seconds here as he works his way across. Also, you'll see some of the challenges of self-filming. I'm trying to get him in frame, and you'll see it jump a little bit. It's one of the biggest challenges I've found for myself now, trying to self-film these hunts. Bob works his way across, and I'm going to let this play out, and you'll hear the reaction at the end of the clip. Shooting footage of him for a while. He'd come in once, turn around, come back around to get to the decoy, and somehow just shot over his back at 20 yards. I can't believe it. Alright, so you can see that didn't quite work out like we wanted, right? That buck ducked that arrow, probably a full body height. He pretty much put his stomach on the ground. He was on the edge. I should have known to aim a little bit lower. I was trying to keep him in the frame. As you can see, he just sort of stepped out of that. Watch that knock go right over his back, and he's ran down over the hill. So let's fast forward a week. Work kept me out of the woods all that week. Again, it was a beautiful week. Frosty mornings, cold. I really wish I could have been in the woods, but unfortunately I had some travel. But Bob did show back up the evening of November 5th. Came through on a trail camera right back out of that corner again. About 5:30, so it's excited to know he was still around. It hadn't completely scared him off. So here it is a week later. It's November 9th. We're back in the tree again. It's an evening hunt. I didn't see him in the morning, but watching a deer down at the pond, far into the field. An old buck that last year I knew well that had a pretty bad limp to him and had a pretty busted up rack. I could see him down by the pond limping along. Not long after, I saw another buck come out of the bottom, and I decided to give it a grunt. And you'll see in this footage here, he turns, looks up the hill, and immediately I know it's Bob Marley. And game on. I'm going to let this play out. The footage of him is probably about a minute, minute and a half. But the aftermath and everything that comes on after that, I'm going to let it play out because it's just a true raw emotion of hunting that a lot of people don't get. For me, it was a defining moment, as I mentioned earlier, in my season, in my career as a hunter. So I'm going to let this just play out raw as it happened in the tree stand the rest of the evening, and then we'll come back and talk through the rest of the story of Bob Marley.
Bob Marley worked his way back around me, came out in the yard. Got some good footage of him coming down into the yard. As he walked away, I grunted, started wheezed, and turned him around. He stood up there for a little bit, eventually worked off, but as I was filming him,
hunt for Bob Marley probably didn't end like a lot of you expected. For me, it was a defining moment in my career as a hunter. You know, it's a decision that, you know, for me, I felt like it was really a successful season. I saw more deer, I captured more footage, and that was really my goal. Last year, this Euro mount that I have sitting back here, you see, that was my first self-filmed hunt. My goal last year was to really capture my first buck on harvest on film, and I was able to do that after 3 years. This year, I just really wanted to see what kind of footage I could get. I thought a lot more about everything that wrapped around that footage and the scenery and everything, and I really started to take it in. When I saw Bob Marley come back up, I knew I wasn't shooting, and I just decided to capture that. And as you saw, I got a lot of really great footage of him. Like I said, for me, really successful season. I accomplished what I wanted to. I did later on in the season have a pretty big 9-point come out the last Saturday of the season. It did get me to take the bow off the hook. I got a little bit of footage of him before he got down into some pines and you know, with the doe that he was with. I'll highlight that in another video series here. But you know, for me, this is pretty much wrapping up the hunt for Bob Marley in 2019. On January 15th morning, I was getting ready for work, happened to look out, and there he was in the backyard, feeding his way across the backyard. And it was almost as if he was letting me know, hey, there's a couple days of archery left, but I made it through the season, and I'll be back for another round next season. So this wraps up the hunt for Bob Marley. As you can see, for me, very successful. Got a lot of great footage of him. Excited to see what he's going to turn into come next summer and next fall, and we'll see where this goes to. Hope you enjoyed the footage and the story of Bob Marley. If you do, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We have a lot more videos coming. Take a look at Facebook and Instagram. Be sure to follow us there as well.